I had one experience, and I was going to mention this earlier. When I worked at the birth center, I had this mom, she come in, she was laboring in the tub, and I couldn't get any variability on my hand Doppler, and the baby was really tacky, a fast heart rate.
Ooh, bad news.
So I had her get out of the tub, and I was like, I was just a student midwife. I was already in nursing school, but I was just a student midwife. I was enrolled at National College of Midwifery, and she was one of my preceptors, and I was doing a birth with her to get my numbers. And I had her get out of the tub. I put some oxygen on her. I said, I need to go check with so-and-so, the midwife. I go, just please stay on your left side and blah, blah, blah. So I go and I talk to the midwife. I'm like, she's really tacky. I'm not getting a lot of variability. And she goes, well, what do you want to do? I was like, what do you mean? What do I want to do? You're the midwife. Like, I was like, I think we need to transport her. She's like, okay, I'll call 911. I was like, okay. So I get back into the room, and the mom had taken off the oxygen and got back in the tub because that's what she wanted. She wanted to labor in the tub and be in the tub. I was like, we are transferring you. I go, your baby's heart rate's really high. I can't get it to come down. I go, I need you to get out of the tub. I need you to get dressed because you are going to the hospital. So we ended up transporting that baby. She wouldn't let us. We followed the ambulance to try and be supportive. She wouldn't let us in. She was mad. Okay, whatever. I say that now. At the time, I was really offended. I was like, ah. So she ended up having 4+ meconium staining, and the baby ended up in the NICU for meconium aspiration for 2 weeks for antibiotic treatment. Now, as a NICU nurse, I know what that means. I now know I saved that baby's life.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
But she was so mad at me on Yelp. She wrote the worst review of the birth center. That pushy midwife, Cristina, made me do all this stuff, and I didn't get my birth that I wanted. And at the time, I was kind of upset, but in the back, I kind of knew I'd saved our baby's life. But then when I became a NICU nurse, like, I freaking saved that baby's life. Because the baby had been born at the birth center, it totally could have died. We were prepared for that emergency. I can tell you right now that no midwife is prepared for that kind of emergency. And the baby may not have died, but it may have been severely more injured than it was. Right?
Yeah, meconium aspiration is absolutely nothing to mess around with.
She didn't want to listen to me at all because she wanted her birth experience.
Well, you were saying that when she didn't want you around when you transported her, wrote you a nasty Yelp, and I'm sitting here thinking, so people expect, rightly, or midwives lead you to expect that they are your friend. So you have this very close, intimate relationship. And so I was wondering, when you were upset that she didn't want you guys anywhere around, was the reverse also true? Were you thinking, well, wait a second, I'm not necessarily in a professional capacity. She's rejecting me in a professional capacity, but also maybe she's rejecting me as a person who's only trying to help her.
Yeah, I just felt really bad because we couldn't have the conversation for me to educate her on how bad it really could have gone. She never gave me that opportunity. I never saw her again. You know, that was the very last birth I'd done at that birth center. I was going back into my last semester of nursing school. And that's when that midwife had asked me to come back as an RN. And I said, no, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine lending your RN to a birth center.
Yeah, no, I was like, it just felt so unsafe. Like I felt so unsafe, so out of my element, you know? And that's why it was really hard when I was trying to find a job as a nurse. A lot of the hospitals were concerned with so much birth center experience if I could acclimate to the hospital environment. And I was like, yes, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to learn more, you know, and keep it safe. But landing in the NICU was the best thing that ever. I have the best career ever, helping these people amidst their tragedies. And, you know, I don't want this conversation I don't want people to see this and think that bad things don't happen in the hospital. They do. Bad things do happen in the hospital. Babies do die in the hospital. But it's usually not because of neglect or unnecessary things happening. You know, the babies that I see that pass away are usually very, very sick, sepsis, or they have congenital birth defects or heart defects or things they're born that are incompatible with life. Very rarely would you see a baby die of meconium aspiration. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, okay, because it does. but not statistically as often as it happens in home birth situations.
So yeah, basically a home birth or a birth center birth should happen to babies that are healthy term vertex. So in the hospitals, if you come across a baby in NICU that's healthy in term, what do you think usually lands them there?
Infection, chorioamnionitis, GBS infections. Sometimes they don't transition well to breathing room air. We have transitional tachypnea of the newborn. They'll come into the NICU for a little bit of CPAP and stuff like that. And then, normal healthy, we get babies with anomalies like cleft lip and palate that need to be evaluated for a few days before they can go home and things like that. So we do see normal term babies in the NICU for a variety of reasons, but those are usually short stays, just to get them into the system so that they can get the services they need when they go home.
That's true. Mine landed for apparent fetal maternal hemorrhage. He came out with, I think his hemoglobin was less than 5.
Oh, yeah, that's an emergency. That's blood transfusion.
Yeah, tacky, no reaction, unreactive trace. Yeah, that was his.
Yeah, that's a sick baby. That's a sick baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question. This is a NICU question. So if we can ask a NICU question. I noticed how rapidly NICU weans babies off of respiratory support. How does that process? Can you outline the process real fast for us or not?
It depends on the kid. So if you just have some transitional tachypnea, we'll put them on CPAP, and then once they no longer like they're working really hard, retracting really hard, the respiratory rate gets back into a normal range, we'll trial them to room air. If they still need a little bit of help, we might just put them on some high flow. It's all an individual basis. I mean, we don't ever just take the tube out and they're breathing room air. That very rarely happens. Sometimes it does if they're just intubated for a quick procedure or whatever, but we're monitoring their blood gases. We're looking at their O2 sats. We're looking at the respiratory rate. We're looking at their work of breathing. We're obsessing all of that as we wean. So
yeah,
sometimes the kids just pull it off themselves and you're like, oh, how long that's been off? You look good. And then we just leave. So I had one do that last weekend. She was like so mad and she just pulled it off. And I was like, how long's that been off? All right, you're doing fine. I guess we don't need that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun because I've watched babies go in intubated and then 2 days later they're on like room air and observation and out the door.
Babies are very resilient. They really are. They are very resilient. We don't give them enough credit. And going back to my own story with Alexa and the night that she died, right? Hindsight now, that rapid, intense fetal movement was more than likely her asphyxiating, okay? My placenta was failing. She wasn't getting enough oxygen. And so she was reacting to that. That's what I was feeling. I know that now, okay? I didn't know that at the time, obviously. And then once I made that realization as a NICU nurse, I was like, I am, and I've said this before, I am very grateful that God made the decision for me. Because I see these babies that come in with hypoxic injury and they go on cooling and they go on ECMO, and then these parents have a very, very hard and personal decision to make. Do we withdraw care or do we keep escalating and we get what we get? I didn't have to make that decision. It was made for me, and I am very, very grateful for that. Because I see families struggle.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hardest things is when a baby gets transported from a birth center and goes on full support and the families are all sitting here saying, and we're not even talking cooling, this is ventilator support, everything practically, and the families are like asking for prayers and stuff, and I'm just sitting here thinking, you'll need a miracle. There's probably not much you can do, but they have to go, hospitals have to do this, and the process has to happen before support can be withdrawn. I don't think there's any shortcut to it. And it just kills me. I'm just like, not only did it not have to happen most of the time, but it it's a traumatic process to watch your baby go through that.
Mhm. It's horrible, but I'm also grateful that I get to witness and support these families through that.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. It's something that I take very seriously in my job, and I feel when I get assigned to that patient, I, I, it's, I don't know. I can't. It's what I do. I feel like I'm there for that day. So I have Alexa's pictures behind me. This one sits on a shelf in my hallway, along with that one. That's my henna belly with her, and then our family picture on the top that has the light shining on it. But I have a little shelf in my hallway, and I have actually added the babies that I've taken care of to that shelf that have passed away. So it's not just her, it's her with all the babies that I've taken care of that didn't make it. And they all hold a very, very special place in my heart. I'm still in touch with a handful of those mothers and supporting them on their grief journey, because we know it's a journey, it's not a destination, it lasts a lifetime. And I let them know that I'm here for them at any point in time, day and night, to reach out at any time through this healing process. And I am very grateful to do so.
On that topic, do you have any resources you can point to for families who are going through trauma with their babies?
Just locally, I don't know of anything online or nationally, but the hospital that I work at, we have a very strong bereavement group. It's called Always in My Heart. And we have a bereavement coordinator in the NICU and a bereavement coordinator on L&D, and they're my girlfriends. And we do the Walk to Remember every year. We do a butterfly release in June. We do a Christmas holiday gathering where we all remember our babies and share our stories. I don't know of anything on a national level. I just know locally for me here in the Inland Empire in Southern California, that is available. So if anyone is local to Loma Linda Children's Hospital and you don't know about our Always in My Heart program, just reach out to me through this YouTube, and I will get you the resources that you need. You can also go to Loma Linda Children's Hospital's website and type in bereavement, and our information pops up.
Yeah, most pediatric hospitals have a good grief
Yeah, and they're
services.
still doing Zoom meetings, I think, right now, but hopefully those end soon.